Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna assume that you've read the title of my speech. If you have, and if you haven't, let me just give you fair warning. The title of my speech is Vomitrocious. If you're eating right now, I'll suggest you stop. If you haven't eaten yet, you're probably not gonna want to after this. Because today, we're gonna be talking about vomit. Vomit and the fear of vomit. By the time I'm done, vomit isn't gonna sound like a word anymore. With that being said, vomit, puke, barf, upchuck, throw up, spit up, worshipping the porcelain god, yelling at ants. Such fun and colorful names for something so horrible. If you're sick, stay away from me. If you're sick, I am not going to help you. It's nothing personal. It's not that I don't like you or anything. It's just the thought of being near you scares me. Why? Because I suffer from something known as emetophobia. Emetophobia is the fear of vomit. This phobia isn't like any other phobia. For example, if you have arachnophobia, you're afraid of spiders. That's it. With emetophobia, things are much more complex. Emetophobia can fall into 3 different subcategories. The first form of emetophobia is the fear of being nauseated, or the fear of being sick yourself. This is one of the most common variants of emetophobia, and it's the most severe. The people that suffer from this, they go through a lot. This phobia actually controls their everyday lives. I found this post on Twitter about 2 months ago. This user goes into great detail about this type of emetophobia, as well as their experience with it. Being scared of vomit means being scared of your own body. It's really an anticipatory anxiety. You are constantly overanalyzing whether you're getting/feeling sick. This makes you more anxious, which makes you feel more sick, and it becomes a very vicious cycle. Often we will not eat, so that we have nothing to vomit. I lost 15 pounds in 1 week when a stomach bug went around the house because I refused to eat a thing. This can sometimes lead to a diagnosis of eating disorders. In some, emetophobia can lead to OCD behaviors to avoid getting sick. Things such as washing hands until raw, to make sure there's no norovirus on our hands. Avoiding foods with high food poisoning rates. Being super strict about expiration dates, etc. Because this fear stems from a lack of control, it also means we're afraid to go out in public. Now, if you think that's bad, it gets worse. People with this type of emetophobia can't even say the word vomit. Instead, they speak in code, usually using the first letter of the word only. The second form of emetophobia is the fear of being sick in public. This variant exists simply because throwing up in public is embarrassing. There are so many things that can go wrong. People could point and laugh at you. You could start a chain reaction. Or you could scare the ever-loving crap out of another emetophobe. The third type of emetophobia is the fear of seeing or hearing someone else be sick. I suffer from this one. Some people throw up into the toilet. Some people have an outright shouting match with the toilet. And fortunately for me, my mom was one of these people. It's been theorized that this phobia manifested itself because fetus Shannon was in prison for 9 months being forced to listen to all of this. This theory could be plausible, but the truth is, I don't really know what caused this. It just kind of showed up one day. Research has been done, and it turns out no one knows what causes this. It's different for everyone. It's become unanimous among scientists, though, that something traumatic has to trigger it. For me, finding out was the traumatic part. I had a relative that was really strict about finishing food. They used to be the kind of person who wouldn't let a kid leave the table without a clean plate. Because of this, certain younger relatives would often throw up onto their plate about 5 inches away from me. This happened constantly. I hated eating around them. In addition to the puke fest, I'd always get yelled at and cursed out for any adverse reaction I had. As I got older, and the more it happened, the more intense my reactions got. My heart would pound, my body would start shaking, and I just felt the urge to run away, plug my ears, and hide. Sometimes I did just that. Most of the time while screaming bloody murder. I would later learn that what was happening to me was a panic attack. There have been countless heart-wrenching moments filled with retching and dry heaving and shouting and swearing and terror and rage and screaming and crying. If I told you just one of those stories, we'd probably be here till dark. My family didn't understand. They didn't know that emetophobia was a thing, and they certainly didn't realize that I was having a panic attack. I didn't either. If they did, I'd imagine they might have been kinder, gentler. At least I would hope. But since they didn't, they just thought I was slow or off. And after a while, that's what I thought too. Until one day, in high school, on a whim, I decided to Google fear of vomit. And that's when I saw it. Emetophobia. There's actually a name for this thing. And it's pretty common. 'Cause come on, who actually likes vomit? Okay. Apparently some people do. That's disturbing. But I digress. I broke down crying. For years, I just thought I was this freak of nature. But there it was. Right there in front of me. Confirmation that I'm normal.